She had suffered a great deal from many doctors. Through the years, had spent everything she had to pay them, but she had gotten no better. In fact, she was worse. She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched the fringe of his robe. And I'm going to stop right there because that's where it all starts. She had suffered a great deal. She suffered. And for 12 years, she was in a constant state of bleeding. And I'm sure she was always stuck in her house because she didn't want anybody to see the pain that she was in, to see all the blood that would come out of her. She suffered. And a great deal. She went to many, many doctors. And many doctors. But I feel like when she was going to the doctors were like, what else could we do for her? We have nothing else. It's not getting better. No matter how much money you give us, there's nothing that we can give you that will heal you, that will save you, that will remove this suffering, this pain, this sickness that you're going through. There's nothing. But the doctors, people nowadays just want money, so they'll take anybody's money, however much they give you, and try to come up with an antidote that will only last a few weeks or a few days, but it would still come back. And no matter how many times she went to the doctor, every time she went, it got worse and worse and worse. But I asked myself, what if? What if she wouldn't have gone through this pain? What if she wouldn't have gone through this suffering? What if you wouldn't have gone through your pain? What if you wouldn't have gone through your suffering? Where would you be right now? What would you be doing? Would you be impacting someone else that's going through the same pain that you've been through or that are going through? We're all going through something. There's a reason why she went through what she went through. And I believe one point that Jesus wants to share with us is money, no matter how much you have, it's not going to heal you. It's not going to save you. It's only going to get you worse, no matter how much money you invest in something that, no matter how much money you have. Even if you're a millionaire, sometimes money just isn't going to help. And for her, it didn't. She just got worse. And she invested everything she had, and the doctors couldn't help her. She lost all she had to the wrong path and the wrong answer that she thought was the right answer, but it really wasn't. She finally heard about Jesus, and she followed him close enough to be able to just touch him. One touch, that's it. And not even ask, but just touch him. Despise the crazy crowd. In those times, Jesus was he was those people on Broadway, or a famous actor. But he wasn't an actor, he was real. He was the big deal in those times. He was famous because of his healing touches, of his miracles, of the word that he would say, and just the presence. There was just something about him that people were like, he's different, and we want to be with him. Despite their intentions sometimes that were off, they still wanted to be with him. And she was determined enough to get through those crazy crowds, to touch him, to be able to be healed. It was like her last resort, her last hope. And I wonder what you're going to for your last resort. I know that for me, I went through a season of an eating disorder, and I just kept doing it, and it just got worse. I would get better, and then I would do it again because that was the only thing that I knew. And I feel like for her, she just kept going to doctors and to doctors and to doctors because that's all she knew, until she heard about Jesus. She heard about who he was, what he did for other people. So she got close enough, despite the crazy crowd, to get close to him. And despite the crazy crowd, here in this world, we have to get out of the crowd so that we can get to Jesus for that true healing that's going to fill us and that's going to satisfy us and that's going to heal us. And he's the instant healer. Instant healer. Whether physically, emotionally, spiritually, whether physically you don't get the instant healing right away, he'll instantly heal you in a way that you won't care about what's physically going on with you. He's going to instantly save you. And that's why when she spent everything, she had heard about Jesus. It was the last thing. It was the last thing she had heard about Jesus. She spent everything she had. I don't know if she was by herself, if she didn't have a family, if she didn't have friends, because we don't see her with anybody in this story. She's by herself. And sometimes we have to be by ourselves to be able to get to that end, to where there's nothing left, to where Jesus is like, okay, come to me, come touch me, come get out of that crowd. Crawl yourself. Crawl, even if you have to get to me. But I'm here and I want to save you. Touch me. And so she got close enough to touch him, and in an instant, she was healed. In an instant, she was healed. And I don't know about you, this may be a stupid illustration, but I think about coffee beans and how you can't have coffee yet if you don't pour the hot water in. And I feel like sometimes the Lord's just waiting for us to give him what we have so he can pour into us all of him. And that it would be a sweet aroma. It's like when the coffee's brewing. If you go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, whatever, and you smell the coffee brewing. And it's he wants to brew in us something that is sweet. And everybody's going to be like, what is that? I want that sweetness. And that's who we are called to be. We're called to be this sweet aroma in the world. We're not called to be a bitter. No one wants to be with someone that's bitter aroma. That just doesn't sound right. But in that moment, Jesus brewed something in her that was sweet. And though she was terrified when Jesus turned around and saw her, he just looked at her and he was like, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. You have been healed. And that's what if she wouldn't have spent everything that she had? She wouldn't have gotten a chance to be called the daughter of God. The daughter of God. And in John 1:12, it says, but as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name. To those who believe in his name, he gave the right to be called the child of God. In that moment, her faith saved her. Her faith was the one that healed her soul, which is the most important thing. And it's cool because our faith saves us in every area. So what if she wouldn't have heard of Jesus? What if she wouldn't have taken the little strength she had left to get through the crowds to get to Jesus? She wouldn't have become a child of God. And the children of God are the ones that enter eternal life. Jesus in that moment gave her eternal life. And today we have to come to the end of ourselves. We have to see that the things that we're doing, they don't fill us, they don't help us, and we're not getting any better. I'm doing things on my own, I'm not gonna get any better. I can't, only the Spirit of God is the one that can help us to be strong and to fight the battle that we're in. Only God's Spirit can help us. It's not by power, it's not by might, it's by the Spirit of God. That's it. And today God is calling us to give him the emptiness that we have, to give him the brokenness that we have, the pain that we have, the suffering that we have, so that he can make it into something beautiful. So that he can make it into something beautiful and use it for his glory, so that other people can hear this. So other people can hear this and be saved by his grace. Whether physically they get healed or not, they're getting saved. Their soul is being saved for heaven. And today, I love this story and I just wanted to share it. And we all suffer for a reason. Jesus suffered for a reason, and that was to save us. And now we get to suffer too. It's an honor to suffer. It's an honor to have pain, because in that we can give testimony of who God is and what he can do. God bless you guys.